For the Republic! This is the Coruscant Guard Republic Gunship. It's going to be the next LEGO Star Wars set that I build, and I'm really excited to see how this comes together. Here are my initial thoughts on it based upon what I've got in front of me here on the box art, and also on the images that we see on the official LEGO website. I'll start off by saying that I do genuinely think it looks like a really cool set, a really fun and interesting build. But personally, I wouldn't have picked this up if it wasn't for the fact that it is in that beautiful blood red livery of the Coruscant Guard. And that's just because I've actually got the last two system scale, play scale versions of the Republic LAAT gunship and the Ultimate Collector Series version, and they're absolutely fantastic sets. And I think considering the two play scale versions of the Republic gunship that I've got are 10 years old and over 10 years old, I still think they hold up as really good play sets today. I think factoring inflation and relative piece count, this set doesn't feel quite as good value just on my initial opinion, seeing it in images and what I've got in front of me here, especially compared to that 2008 Clone Wars version. However, the fact that they have made it the Coruscant Guard gunship and use that beautiful blood red livery, all of those gorgeous red elements here, has definitely sold it to me. That swayed me, that made me buy it, and I really can't wait to build it now, to be honest, and see what it looks like in person. In my opinion, I do still think it's on the more expensive side, with the piece count taken into consideration, and just from the images that we've seen, it seems to have been downscaled, and looking at it next to minifigures, it doesn't look like it's in quite the same scale as the previous two Republic gunships. And I kind of like that idea, to be honest. I know that LEGO have done a few of these downscaled sets now, like the X-Wing, the TIE Fighter, Boba Fett Starship. I think that's a good idea. I like that they're making popular ships accessible. Because LEGO is generally expensive nowadays, so it's nice that they are making these downscaled ships that kids or people who can't afford to spend hundreds of pounds on LEGO Star Wars can actually purchase and play with. So yeah, I really like that idea, that concept of making LEGO Star Wars accessible. However, in the same breath, is this really accessible? Because it's £130 retail. I think the design of the build itself looks fantastic. It looks like a really well put together Republic gunship with plenty of play features packed in. And I've seen plenty of people online comment on the accuracy of the troop bay doors. The fact that this is based upon the Clone Wars version from the Clone Wars animated TV series, and that it doesn't have the bubble turrets on either side, that the door should actually split in half and open out. And I've mentioned this before in a few of my LEGO Star Wars review videos. To be perfectly honest, I'm not a huge stickler for accuracy when it comes to LEGO Star Wars versions of the ships that we see in universe. Purely just down to the building media, it's LEGO, it's never going to be 100% accurate to what we see in universe. However, I do have to admit that this does feel like a really big oversight considering this is one of the main play features of this set. And I think the only reason that I think it is a problem as well is because they have actually done it before. They've proven that they can build that into a Republic gunship in the 2008 Clone Wars version. But I do think because they've downscaled it, it does actually make the interior troop bay look slightly more accurate in terms of scale with the minifigures. All of which look absolutely fantastic. I really can't wait to see what that Phase 2 Commander Fox looks like. So I've got a fair few initial thoughts on this Coruscant Guard gunship, but as always, I don't like to judge any LEGO Star Wars sets until I've actually had the experience of building it, of putting it together, and of playing with it for a little bit. So, let's open it up and get it built. For the Republic! LEGO officially lists this set as set number 75354, the Coruscant Guard gunship, made up of 1,083 pieces with a recommended retail price of £129.99 here in the UK. The build process itself is relatively simple and straightforward and is split into 10 different sections with 5 stickers. It's very reminiscent of previous classic Republic gunship building techniques, albeit with some updated elements, which is really nice to see. Overall, it took me just under 2 hours to complete, and I had a fantastic time building it. It's been over 10 years since I've built a Republic gunship in this scale. So there it is, the Coruscant Guard gunship. Here are my fresh, unfiltered thoughts immediately after building it. I really like it. I do think it is a very cool build. It is much more simple of a build process compared to the previous system scale Republic gunships I've had. And it is refreshing, and it's been years since I've built a Republic gunship at this scale, so it was still something really exciting, and it didn't feel like a same old kind of build like a Luke's land speeder, for example. And I do really love that they've put it in this beautiful blood red livery of a Coruscant Guard. That is so refreshing to see in LEGO Star Wars, that it's got like a real splash of colour on it, because this thing is littered with red elements. And I'm quite surprised that there aren't that many stickers. These stickers on either side of a cockpit were a bit of a nuisance, to be honest, but yeah, I do really like it. However, it is considerably downscaled. It really doesn't feel like that much in front of me. I will have to get the other two Republic Gunships down and really compare it, but this, I've seen it in person, so I knew it was on the more compact side, but as I was putting it together, first of all, the length really surprised me. I expected it to be at least a few more studs longer, and then having literally just put the wings on now, I don't think it's a bad wingspan, I don't think it's a bad size, and it's got some heft to it, but for £130 retail, it really doesn't feel like much, and I think I can't help but compare it to the previous system scale gunships that I've got, and it is considerably smaller. The minifigures are absolutely fantastic. I love the minifigures. It's great to get that Phase 2 Commander Fox, and in my opinion, I know some people have got some issues with that minifigure, and I can appreciate that, to be honest. Having seen it now, I do see what people have been saying about it. I can appreciate that. But the Shock Troopers look fantastic. The Padme looks absolutely incredible, and so does that Chancellor Palpatine. And we've all got some amazing detailed prints on them. However, on the topic of minifigures, and I don't think this is a problem that's exclusive to this set as well, I will say. I think LEGO in recent years have been very good at coming up with some really cool, really sought after, really popular clone trooper minifigures, and then just kind of throwing a set together around it without putting that much thought into the actual set. I feel like we've seen that in sets like Republic Fighter Tank with 187th Clone Troopers. That had a lot of problems with the actual build, where it just felt like this is such an easy fix, and it just made me think like they're trying to sell purple Clone Troopers here. They know they're going to be popular, so we don't really need to bother with the set that much. And personally, I know that this is probably an unpopular opinion because it is such a popular set. I felt the same with the first 501st Battle Pack and the subsequent 501st Battle Packs, but I think that one really stood out to me. I think subjectively for me, it's the AT-RT and the Bark Speeder weren't the best builds. I feel like we've had better versions of those vehicles in universe, and this set feels very much like it fits into that category as well. I feel like they came up with the idea that they wanted to sell some Shock Troopers, a Commander Fox Phase 2 minifigure, and then they were like, we can do a Coruscant Guard gunship, and I feel like this hasn't had that much thought put into the design of it. I'll go through it in more detail in my full review in just a moment, but things like I've already mentioned, the bay doors not splitting and opening like the ship in universe, the back ramp doesn't lower fully to the ground, so it kind of just like sticks out. The fact that there's nothing that actually goes in this front compartment, there's no weapon storage for blasters other than these bins at the back which don't fit like a standard medium blaster. So if you've got your Shock Troopers in the cockpit, there's nowhere in the ship to put your blasters. So just lots of little things which make me feel like, as I've been building it, the design hasn't really been thought out that much. It's not been given that much care and consideration. But it does come together in a cool little build. It just feels really simplified and downscaled and just not very well thought out, in my opinion. The build was fun, it looks cool, and some great minifigures. I don't think it's the best value for money, but let's get into my full detailed review of the Coruscant Guard gunship. Okay, so I clearly have a lot of thoughts about this Coruscant Guard gunship set, and I've said a lot of it already, so for this official review section, I'm going to keep it quite succinct and compact. And I think compact is a perfect word to use for this build itself. It is smaller than I was kind of expecting, especially for that price point, and it doesn't feel like the best value for money. However, there are a lot of things that I actually do like because of the scale and the size of this set. I actually think that the scale compared to the minifigures is more accurate to the LAAT gunship that we see in universe. I think it looks really cool having your minifigures in that interior troop bay, but because of the size of it, it doesn't mean that you can't fit as many in as previous gunships, and it can be quite fiddly getting your fingers in there and lining your minifigures up exactly how you want them to be. But the build itself is really solid, really sturdy, it's very swooshable. It of course comes with that carry handle that we did see in the previous playscale version of a Republic Gunship, but that is a welcome addition to this set. And because it's been slightly downscaled as well, when you do close all the panels and the bay doors up, it's actually a lot tighter than previous iterations of the gunship. Like, there aren't as many gaps showing. That could be because of updated elements that they've used on that rear boarding ramp, but I did notice that it does look really clean. On the point of that rear boarding ramp, that is one of the main things that sticks out to me as a real oversight here. Because it just isn't a boarding ramp, as I previously said. It doesn't come down to the ground, just with the elements that have been used here to get that connection, get that hinge on that rear boarding ramp. It just kind of sticks out at a level off the back of a gunship. So I don't think that's great. That is definitely an oversight in the design, in my opinion, because that play function doesn't really do what it's intended to do. And we do usually have some kind of speeder bike or some smaller build that fits onto that rear boarding ramp that just isn't present in this set at all. Which I can totally appreciate with the size of that interior troop bay now that it has been downscaled, but I really don't think that helps the value here. And speaking of additional builds, we do usually get some smaller build that fits into the front compartment at the front of a gunship here underneath the cockpits, which just isn't present here. We usually get some kind of weapon storage or missile storage or a command center that fits into that front compartment. And you can open that front compartment up, so it's got some storage, but there's nothing that fits in there. In my opinion, it would have been really cool to see a very small build with just a few clips so that you can hold loose blasters that goes in this front compartment here, because if you want your shock troopers to pilot the Republic gunship without their blasters in the cockpit, then there's nowhere to put those loose blasters. There are 2 storage compartments at the back of a Republic gunship, which is a really nice addition, but they don't hold those standard medium blaster rifles. And there's no clips in the interior troop bay or anywhere around the Republic gunship in this set to put loose blasters that don't fit into those storage compartments. So I think, seeing as we've got nothing that goes into that front compartment, it would have been an additional 10 pieces maximum. I think that would have been a really nice addition to enhance this set, in my opinion. Another oversight in the design of this Republic gunship, in my opinion, is these 2 cannons on either wingtip. And I have seen people complain about these online because it's not accurate to the source material to the Republic gunship in universe. They don't have those bubbles on either wingtip now. Personally, that doesn't bother me. I think it is a nice addition to this set. It's a nice play feature, especially seeing as we don't have any kind of missile function on the top of the fuselage here like we usually do. However, it would have been nice and a really easy fix, in my opinion, to this build if they just made these rotate. And another real oversight in the design of this Republic gunship, in my opinion, is the bay doors. I've touched upon this already. I don't expect LEGO Star Wars sets to be 100% accurate to the source material, but here I do think it actually takes a lot away from the actual functionality of this set, the play value of this set, as well as it being inaccurate. So as we see in the Clone Wars animated TV show, these doors should split and then open outwards, so there should be essentially 2 doors on each side. And we have seen that in previous LEGO Star Wars Republic gunships, namely in that 2008 Clone Wars version. So they definitely could have included that feature in this set to make it more accurate. And I also think that would give you a lot more opportunity to get into the troop bay and place your minifigures exactly where you want them without taking those bay doors apart. So in short, whilst I don't expect LEGO Star Wars sets to be 100% accurate just because of the building media, you'll never get it 100% accurate, I do think this inaccuracy is actually of detriment to the actual set itself. But with that being said, I actually love the design of this gunship. I think it looks fantastic when it's all closed up. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this beautiful, vibrant, blood red colouring of the Coruscant Guard is the reason that I bought this set. And it definitely delivers. It looks fantastic, it's really vibrant, and it stands out from other LEGO Star Wars sets. So it feels something fresh and vibrant and new, and I really like that. The build itself was really fun as well. It is really playable, it's a good design, and I think this is the perfect representation of the downscaling of sets that they are making. And of course, it comes with 5 excellent minifigures. I know a lot of people have problems with Commander Fox's torso printing, and I can appreciate where those people are coming from because the white sections of his armor aren't pure stark white. They are a little pink. But overall, I think he's a fantastic minifigure. I would rather have him like this than not have him. And the shock troopers are amazing as well. They are the same versions as we see in the Clone Trooper Battle Pack, but some really detailed printing on all of the minifigures here. I was really surprised by the back printing on Chancellor Palpatine's skirt dress piece. And the inclusion of the updated Clone Wars Padme minifigure here is absolutely fantastic. So overall, I'm going to give this set a solid 6.5 out of 10. I actually really like the set, I really do, but there are quite a few oversights in the design, in the build of the actual ship. And I love this concept of making downscaled sets that are more affordable, more accessible for people who can't afford to spend hundreds of pounds on LEGO Star Wars, because LEGO is expensive. The Star Wars branding on top of that makes it even more expensive. So I think that's a really good thing. However, I'm not sure I can make that argument for this particular set because it's £130 retail price. There's not a huge amount of stuff in front of me here. So I am questioning, first of all, the value. I don't think it's particularly good value for money at that retail price. but also the affordability, because £130 is a lot of money to a lot of people nowadays. But those are my thoughts on the LEGO Star Wars Coruscant Guard gunship set. Let me know what you think to this set, if you've built it, down in the comments, and thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe for more LEGO reviews, Star Wars content, and just all-around nerdiness. And you can find plenty more content on my TikTok and Instagram accounts. Have a fantastic day, I'll see you in the next one, and as always, may the Force be with you.